You're in a room with no windows. In front of you, an old man pricks your finger with a needle. He drops your blood onto a prayer card of the Virgin Mary, then sets it on fire in your hands. As the paper burns, you swear, "If I betray the family, may my flesh burn like this saint." Congratulations! You've just entered the Cosa Nostra. But make no mistake, what you just did wasn't a promotion, it was a death sentence. Most people think the Italian mafia is like the movies, expensive suits and elegant dinners. The reality is a pyramid of terror, where the higher you climb, the lonelier you get, and the closer you are to a bullet or a solitary confinement cell. Today, you're going to discover what it's really like to be on every rung of the Sicilian Cosa Nostra, and stay until the end, because the highest rank isn't the one with the most money, it's the one with the darkest task of all. Let's start at the bottom. If you're watching this and think you could join the family, you'd probably start as an associate. But here's the first reality check. To the Cosa Nostra, you are nothing. An associate is a nobody. You aren't a man of honor. You're an outside resource, a contractor of crime. What do you do every day? The dirty work the real members don't want to touch. Moving trucks with stolen goods, collecting minor debts, or acting as a driver. You live in a constant state of anxiety. Why? Because you don't have the family's protection. If the police catch you, you're on your own. If you steal a single dollar from the organization, you end up in a ditch the next morning. You can't ask questions. You can't know anything. Your only goal is to prove you're ruthless enough for them to eventually open the door. But be careful. To become a picchiato, an aspirant, they'll eventually ask for something you can't take back, proving you can take a life without blinking. If you survive years of testing, the day of the ritual arrives. You become a soldato. Now you're a man of honor. Sounds good, right? Wrong. Being a soldier means your life no longer belongs to you. If the boss calls you at 3 a.m. to go take someone out, you can't say no. If they order you to kill your own brother because he became an informant, you have to do it. As a soldier, you live by omertà, the law of silence. Your daily life is a mix of adrenaline and paranoia. You have your own business, extortion, gambling, whatever, and you have to kick up a percentage to the boss every week. If the money isn't there 1 month, the problems start for you. You are the muscle. You're on the street. You feel the breath of the police on your neck. But now you have a shield. No one can touch you without your boss's permission. If a civilian disrespects you, the family handles it. But that shield has a price. Absolute obedience. A soldier who thinks for himself is a dead soldier. But who controls these soldiers? This is where we go up a step. The capo regime, or simply the capo. Imagine you're a middle manager in the most dangerous company in the world. You're in charge of a group of 10 or 20 soldiers. Your job is no longer pulling the trigger. It's administering fear. As a capo, you're the one who decides who lives and who dies in your territory. You're the one collecting the envelopes of cash from all your soldiers, making sure the accounting adds up. If one of your men makes a mistake, the responsibility falls on you. You have power, you have respect, but you also have a giant target on your back. Young, ambitious soldiers look at you with envy, waiting for you to slip up so they can take your place. Your life is a constant chess match, where one wrong move takes you off the board forever. Now there's a figure moving in the shadows, right next to absolute power. It's the consigliere. If you've ever seen The Godfather, you know what I'm talking about. But forget the glamour. The consigliere is the brain. He's the only one who doesn't need to be a brutal killer. He needs to be a cold diplomat, What does it feel like to be the consigliere? It's like being the devil's advocate. You're the boss's personal advisor. Your job is to avoid unnecessary wars, mediate disputes between families, and ensure that the legal businesses, because yes, the mafia loves legal businesses, run without attracting attention. You're the voice of reason when the boss wants to act on impulse, but you have to be very careful. If you give advice that goes wrong, the boss might think you're betraying him. You're the smartest man in the room, but also the one carrying the most secrets. And in this world, secrets weigh a ton. Above everyone except one is the sottocapo or underboss, the second in command, the buffer between the boss and the rest of the organization. If the boss gives an order, it goes through you. If someone wants to talk to the boss, they have to convince you first. Being the sottocapo is living in unbearable tension. You're the natural heir to the throne. On one hand, you have to be the most loyal because the boss is watching you closely. On the other hand, you're the first target for the police and rival families. If the boss gets killed, you take command. But you're also next on the execution list. You're the head of operations, the one who knows where all the bodies are buried, literally. And finally, we reach the top. The representative, the capofamilia, the boss, the don. Here, the air is very thin and it's hard to breathe. You have the power of life and death over hundreds of people. With a nod of your head, you can destroy a company or erase an entire family. You have millions in hidden accounts and properties that aren't even in your name. But what is your life really like? It's a hell of solitude. You can't trust anyone. Not your underboss, not your consigliere, not even your own blood. You know that everyone smiling and kissing your hand is calculating how much time you have left. You spend your days hiding in bunkers, behind stone walls in the Sicilian countryside, or in anonymous apartments, communicating through pizzini, small scraps of handwritten paper, so you don't leave a digital trail. You don't use phones. You don't go to restaurants. Your world shrinks to four walls, and the paranoia that the next plate of pasta you eat might be poisoned, or that the police will kick down your door any second. Many Cosa Nostra bosses have spent 20 or 30 years hiding in basements, living like rats while the world thinks they're living like kings. That's the great secret of the mafia. Absolute power turns you into the most guarded prisoner on the planet. But I mentioned there was something else. The capo di tutti capi, the boss of all bosses. This isn't an official rank. It's a position of absolute dominance that only a few, like Toto Raina, ever reached. It's the man who doesn't just rule his family, but dictates the rules for every family in Sicily. Being there means being at war with the state, with society, and with your own organization. It's a throne of thorns where the only way to stay is through violence so extreme that even your own men start to fear you more than they respect you. So is it worth it? Look at the statistics. Almost no member of the Cosa Nostra grows old enjoying their money. You either end up in an unmarked grave before you're 40, or you end up in the 41 bis regime, a maximum security prison in Italy where you can't see the sun, you can't touch your family, and you spend the rest of your days in a cell the size of a closet. The Cosa Nostra promises you honor, but it gives you betrayal. It promises you wealth, but it gives you the life of a fugitive. It promises you a family, but it forces you to kill your own. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what rank you hold. In the mafia, everyone is a pawn in a game where the house always wins, and the house is always death or prison. If you made it this far, now you know the truth the movies don't tell you. The next time you see someone glorifying this lifestyle, remember the burning prayer card. It wasn't a blessing. It was a warning that your life just turned to ashes. Subscribe, like, and see you next time.